Hi, this is Professor Salazar, and in this video, I'm going to be showing you how you can install Snort and how you can set it up as an intrusion detection system to prevent unwanted traffic and alert you of unwanted traffic to your computer or to your network. Uh, what we're going to be looking at today is if there's any intrusions such as FTP types of connections that are being made, or if there's any Nmap scans that are being made. Uh, we'll have Snort running as an intrusion detection system to monitor that type of traffic and to alert you of any intrusions being made. So first things first, I'm going to start by sharing my screen. Okay, so if you're able to see my screen, I have an Ubuntu Linux machine running as a virtual machine, and I also have a Kali Linux machine running as a virtual machine. So I'm going to go back to my Ubuntu machine and I'm going to open the terminal and I'm going to install uh, Snort by typing in sudo apt install snort -y at the end. Okay, this is how you would install Snort as an intrusion detection system on your Linux machine. Okay, so the next step is to check what version of Snort you're running, right? And I believe I'm running 2.9 because I can see it right here, right? But if you ever want to check what version of Snort you're running, all you have to do is type in snort-v. And if it says operation not permitted, it's probably because I forgot to type in sudo. So I'm going to type in sudo snort-v. And it shows me that I'm running version 2.9 right here. If y'all could see that. Okay. I'm going to Control C out of that. All right. Okay, now what I'm going to do, and I'll go ahead and I can close out of this, or I can kind of wait patiently for this to happen. Sometimes when you're running Snort and you have a lot of different types of rules, it could take its time in order to close out. So if you want to manually close out the terminal and open a new one, that's fine. I'm just going to go in here and show you also where you can find the Snort rules, where you can set up different types of rules which you want to monitor. So if I type in sudo nano /etc/snort/rules/local.rules, okay, this is where you would find all of these Snort rules that you can have running on your machine. And notice how this one, I only have one rule that I inserted. So this is a rule that I inserted into my Snort rules that's going to detect anyone trying to ping my computer. So let's say, for example, somebody's trying to ping my IP address. Snort is going to alert me that somebody's trying to ping my IP address, right? And I can kind of show you what that looks like right here. I'm just going to go ahead and Control X to get out of there. And I'm also going to type ifconfig just to show you my network adapters and all the IP address information. If you take a look at my network adapter, which is called ENS33, I have an IP address right now. This is a private IP version 4 address, 192.168.119.128, right? It ends in 119.128. So I'm going to try to do this, put it in full screen view, and I'm going to clear the machine. I'm trying to remember 119.128 is my Ubuntu machine. And what I'm going to do next is I'm going to start Snort in this IDS mode by typing in sudo snort dash capital A console-q-c/etsy/snort/snort.conf space dash I, lowercase I, space ENS33, which is my network adapter. And when you do this, it puts your network adapter in an IDS mode where it's actually just monitoring traffic on this network adapter. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and hit enter. And you'll see like it's actually not doing anything, right? But what it's actually doing is if somebody tries to ping this IP address, 119.128, Snort is going to show it to me. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to go over to my Kali machine and just try to ping 119.128. So I'm going to log into my Kali machine. You'll notice on this machine, if I type in ifconfig, I have a different IP address. On ETH0, I have 192.168.119.136. My Kali machine ends in 136. My Ubuntu machine ends in 128. So if I try to ping, and by the way, I'm only going to ping it once. And notice how I'm changing the size of the packet, right? And I'm going to ping it. Let's say, for example, I want to ping it 5 times with a count of 5 to 192.168.119.128. Well, what's going to happen here is that I'm changing the size of that packet to 199. And when you change it to something really high, like let's say, for example, I don't need to change it to 199, but let's say I'm going to change it to something higher than 56, because usually something higher than 56 is not considered to be your average ping, right? So if I say, let's say, for example, I change it to 200, I can go here and when I hit enter, you'll see that I'm pinging the machine 5 different times. But when I go over to my Ubuntu machine, Snort is going to alert me that there were large ping detected from 192.168.119.136. Large ping detected, large ping detected, large ping detected, large ping detected. All of these different large ping detecteds are coming from that same IP address, which is my Kali machine, right? So that's just an example of a rule that you can set up within your Snort, all right? So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to attempt to get out of Snort. And like I said, sometimes it's good to have patience while you're using this tool, because when you put Snort in this mode, it's constantly checking, right? Like you don't actually want to come up here and exit out unless you know what you're doing. You can go back in here and put it in that same IDS mode that you had it in earlier. But let's say, for example, before I put it in this mode, I want to actually add another rule that will detect any type of FTP connections that are being made. So this is what I'm going to do next. I'm going to go back to that rules /etsy/snort/rules/local.rules. And I'm just going to plug in another rule right here. And this rule is going to detect any type of FTP connections. Okay, so FTP is a protocol that you could use to transfer files to and from a computer, right? It's called File Transfer Protocol. It uses 2 port numbers. It uses port 20 and 21, okay? And usually what has to happen with the FTP, sometimes it's like you have to supply like a FTP user login and a password. Well, we're going to have Snort set up so it's going to detect someone trying to log in with an FTP username and an FTP password, right? So this is what the alert looks like. Alert TCP any Uh, I'm going to put like a little arrow right here, any 21, and the message I want to give it is FTP user login attempt. And I'm going to add content user in double quotes. I'm also going to add an SID of 1000002 colon rev colon 1 semicolon close parentheses. So that's going to be one rule that I have set up. The next rule that I'm going to set up is for the password. Okay, for the FTP password. I'm going to type alert TCP any, and by the way, I forgot an any right here. Alert TCP any arrow any 21, and the message is going to say FTP password attempt. So it's actually going to show us two different types of alerts here. The content is going to be pass. The SID is going to be 1000003 semicolon, and the rev is going to be colon 1 semicolon close parentheses. Hopefully I did that correctly. So I'm going to go ahead and hit enter. You'll notice that this is where I would type in all of the local rules that I want Snort to alert me of, right? So now in order to save this, all you have to do is get out of Nano by typing Control X, Y to save it, and enter for the name. Okay. Next, I want to go back and put it in that mode where it's actually in an IDS mode where it's monitoring traffic, right? So I'm going to go back and let's see if I have it here. If I don't see it, I'll just type it in again. Okay, it looks like I don't have it here, so I'm just going to type it all out again. Sudo snort dash capital A console dash Q dash C slash Etsy slash snort dot conf space dash lowercase I, and the lowercase I just stands for the interface, and the interface that I'm putting in monitor is ENS33. Okay. And now it might not be showing anything, but if somebody tries to ping or if somebody tries to connect through FTP, it's going to show it to me. Now, one thing that I may have forgotten to do is to actually install an FTP server on my Ubuntu server. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to attempt to do this. I'm going to open up a new window. And here in this window, I'm going to try to install VSFTPD. VSFTPD stands for Very Secure FTP Daemon, which, by the way, depending on the version number, I don't believe it's actually that secure. So I'm going to type in sudo apt install VSFTPD space -y. Okay, this is how you can add the FTP server service to your Ubuntu machine. Okay. All right, so now I'm going to start VSFTPD. So I'm going to type in sudo systemctl start VSFTPD. Okay. I'm not actually going to enable it, but if this was like a real FTP server, you'd probably want to enable it as well. You'd probably want to make sure that you have an FTP user account together with a strong password. You don't just want to leave it like this, right? So assuming that my FTP server is actually running here, I haven't actually even created like an FTP folder or anything that I want to have out there. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my Kali machine now. Let me go ahead and close this. This console is the network adapter is still in this IDS mode using Snort. But if I go to Kali, log in, and try to attempt to connect through an FTP, or in this case, what I could try to do is connect to, let's say, for example, an admin account with a password of password through an FTP service, it should alert me back on Snort that there's an intrusion attempt happening. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to type in sudo hydra space -l admin space -p password. And by the way, this is just the username that I'm using, admin, which doesn't exist on my system, password of password, which doesn't exist. And here I'm going to type FTP : the IP address of my Ubuntu machine, 192.168.119.128. Okay. Assuming I did this correctly, Snort is going to be showing me alerts that somebody's trying to log in through FTP with the username of admin and the password of password. So let's take a look at that. I'm going to hit enter. And I'm going to go ahead and type my user01 password for sudo. And as you can see, Hydra is running. Didn't actually crack any passwords or anything like that. Just try to connect through FTP. And if I go back to my Ubuntu machine, it should show me those alerts. So here it is. I just went back to my Ubuntu machine and I see FTP user login attempt, right? And it's coming from that same IP address that my Kali is running, 192.168.119.136. And it's trying to go through port 21 on my Ubuntu machine. So right there, I can see that not only did I set up a rule to monitor for anyone trying to ping or send large packets of pings over to my Ubuntu machine, I also set up Snort to detect any FTP logins, right? Anyone trying to connect to my FTP server, Snort was showing it to me here on my Ubuntu machine, right? And that's something that you want to do. Like, you want to make sure that if anyone's trying to connect to your machine or any of your machines on a network, as a cybersecurity expert or as a cybersecurity professional, you should want to have a tool like Snort that can monitor for any type of connections to and from your machine so that way it can alert you and you can actually do something about it. Remember that Snort is being set up right now as an intrusion detection system, and it's only going to alert me. Snort can also be used as an intrusion prevention system that can not only just alert you, but can stop attacks or intrusions right in their tracks, which is even a greater use of this tool, right? So here's what I'll do. I'll go ahead and leave it running, and I'm going to go, you know what, instead of just leaving it running, let's see if I can close out of this and go back into the rules. And I'm going to actually add another rule to monitor for any Nmap scans. And this is why this is important. The first phase of any attack is called reconnaissance. Anyone trying to hack into something is going to perform some type of reconnaissance on their particular target. In this case, let's say, for example, our Ubuntu machine was our target machine that somebody's going to try to hack into. If you're trying to protect your machine from any hacks or any intrusions, you're going to want to set up Snort so that it can monitor those types of intrusions. And in this case, since reconnaissance is the first phase of an attack, not only do I want it to monitor any pings, I also wanted to monitor if somebody's trying to use Nmap on my machine. So why is that important? Because Nmap is used to not only just detect that the machine is there, but also to check to see which ports are open on my computer. Because if I have any open ports, that's just another way for a hacker to gain access into my system, right? So let me kind of show you what alert you can set up to check for Nmap scans. I'm going to type in alert TCP any arrow any. And this message, I'm going to type in a different message here, but this message is going to say Nmap null scan detected. Just as an example, the flags are going to be 0. The SID is going to be 1000004 semicolon. The rev is going to be 1 semicolon and then close parentheses. Okay. And now you'll notice that I'm detecting any large pings. I'm detecting any FTP attempts. And now I'm also detecting any Nmap scans on my computer. And specifically, what I'm scanning is for a null scan. Okay. So let's go ahead and type Control X, Y, Enter. So I already added it into a rule. And now I'm going to run this Snort in IDS mode so that it can monitor my existing network adapter in monitor mode. All right. And it'll be displaying it to me in the console. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and hit enter. Nothing's really happening. There's no pings coming through. There's no FTP connections trying to be made. But now I'm going to go to my Kali machine and do an Nmap scan, and we'll see if it comes up as an alert. So now I'm going to go to Kali. Let me go ahead and clear the screen. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to run an Nmap scan to my Ubuntu machine. Sudo nmap -s capital N, my IP address of Ubuntu, which is 192.168.119.128. When I hit enter, Nmap is starting up. It shows me that port 21 is open. It shows me that port 2222 is open. And if I go back to my Ubuntu machine, let's see if it shows me, oh, there it is. Nmap null scan detected, Nmap null scan detected, Nmap null scan detected. And you'll see at the bottom that it's coming from that same IP address, which is my Kali machine. And it's trying to go through my Ubuntu machine on port 21 as well. So why is it trying to go through port 21? Well, it's actually not trying to go through port 21. It's just showing that there is an Nmap scan and 21 was detected and 2022 was detected. Or I'm sorry, 2222 was detected, right? But if you'll notice, a whole lot of different port numbers were also detected. That doesn't necessarily mean that they're open or filtered. That just means that they were the hacking machine, which is Kali, was just going through all of the ports, trying to see if they were open or closed or filtered. All right. All right. And that's pretty much the lab. This is how you can set up Snort to monitor any types of unwanted traffic on your system. And I cannot stress how important it is to run an intrusion detection system on your network, because you could have a machine that's vulnerable to an attack. You could have a machine that has a lot of different open ports, or you could have a machine that's vital to a company to run 24/7, you know, even if it needs like updates, this thing needs to be running. There may need to be a backup of this machine running at all times. This is a type of thing that a cybersecurity professional wants to run to monitor for any types of intrusions. And I always say this to students, when you run an IDS like Snort, you're not, uh, your security posture is not passive anymore. It's more of an active security posture. Even though this is just an intrusion detection system that's just going to alert you of things, well, you're no longer thinking passively of your security. You're thinking actively, because now you have something in place that's going to alert you of any intrusions. It's the same thing as if you had a camera or surveillance camera in your home, and all of a sudden it's monitoring any motion in front of your home or in back of your home, right? Some of us actually have some of these cameras. Like, for example, if you have like a Ring doorbell and somebody comes up to the Ring doorbell, well, no matter if the person clicks the ringer or not, it's still going to monitor for any motion, right? And it's still going to detect you that somebody's at your door, right? Think of the Snort being like that, like the same way as it detects. Now that it detected something, now you can actually do something about it, right? All right, so thank you for watching this video. I'll see you on the next one.